Caroline Reps and Sarah Thomas are both higher-level TAs. They have both recently completed a foundation degree for teaching assistants and both work in primary schools in Cornwall. Over the next 2 days, we will examine the challenges of teaching a whole class. We will follow Caroline and Sarah through a typical day and, with the help of a senior teacher, reflect on the strategies they find work best for them when teaching a whole class. Nestled in a small village on the Cornish coast, Deveron Primary School is housed in an old Victorian building. The school has nearly 170 children drawn from both the village and surrounding area. Sarah first started working in the school as a teaching assistant.
I started 7 years ago in the school and just fell in love with it. And then I just wanted to find out more. I felt that I was very underqualified for the position. I have a natural curiosity to investigate things, and I wanted to know the whole picture.
Today, Sarah is teaching ICT and French as part of her PPA cover. Teaching to whole classes is one of her new responsibilities as an HLTA.
We were looking at ways of improving our text, weren't we? How are we doing it?
On a daily basis, I work with individual children, groups of children and the whole class. I am ICT technician, where I teach and assist the teachers in their teaching from reception to year 6.
For example, how would I get a bracket from the top?
I've actually been working with a whole class for several years, but I can remember when I first did it, I was physically sick beforehand, but only on the one occasion, and then it's not been plain sailing all the time, but you've just got to make it fun, and the teachers are there to support you and help you, and they make the world a difference.
Sarah has received a lot of encouragement from the staff and head teacher, who appreciates the advantages of using HLTAs to teach whole classes.
They've got so many talents and they bring so much everyday knowledge to the work that they do. And we're so lucky here that they're so well motivated to help us with that.
Well done. It's not a lot of children know that would be.
I always encourage any person that comes to me thinking about being an HLTA, I'd always encourage them to go for it. It gives them that high level of challenge, it gives them a greater sense of responsibility, self-esteem, self-confidence. I never minimise how hard it can be. It's a lot of hard work to get the qualification, but it's well worth it.
Repeat after me.
Today, Sarah is being observed by the other HLTA featured in this programme, Caroline Reps. They've known each other professionally for years, but this is their first opportunity to visit each other's schools and observe each other teaching a whole class.
Écoutez.
Écoutez.
It is very important to keep the discipline levels, because if they start going, then you've got a riot and it takes a lot longer to get back together. And being a listener and being able to project yourself. I think training and attending training and getting as much awareness of resources and courses that are available to improve your delivery, very important, as important as the status, I think, because, like I say, a lot of people can deliver, but you know, they need to know what's available to them.
At the end of the school day, Sarah and Caroline have time to reflect on how well it went.
What I was really impressed with was, I loved your open-ending questioning. I thought that was really good. The children responded really well, and I thought your instructions were really clear, and they responded ever so well.
We've had quite a bit of training. The whole school have had training. The staff have had training on the use of open-ended questions.
Where did you get the French resources? Because I thought that lesson was really vibrant, and I'd love to know where you got the resources from.
Anybody remember what the name of the French flag is? The actual scheme of works has been adapted. The new scheme of works is on the DFES website. We've also had a scheme of works that has been produced by 2 individuals, and we've tailored it to suit our needs.
3 colours.
Trick, trickle, treat.
Not trickle. I particularly love doing the French because all the children are up and enjoying themselves. They're moving around, they're addressing the kinesthetic aspects of their learning, and their smiling faces obviously show that they've enjoyed it and they have learnt some of the words.
The next day, and some 20 miles along the Cornish coast, Caroline is starting the day early with her pre-teaching group.
I started off about 11 years ago as a parent helper. I think as a lot of TAs do. 18 months ago, I went through the HLTA process. We just did the 3-day assessment because I think I've got so much background knowledge through the foundation degree, we were able to go through the quick route.
In addition to taking small groups, Caroline's new role means she teaches whole classes 3 times a week.
I'm actually the one that's doing all speech and language in the school, and as an HLTA they've given me a different role. So I am actually most days doing some form of cover supervision or delivering.
And in teaching whole classes, holding planning meetings with the class teacher is essential.
The first session will probably be getting the children to talk about and to think about what they like it or don't like about it.
I want to ensure that they are getting the best opportunities with what I'm delivering, and it's a lot of work, I find. That's quite challenging to make sure that we're actually following the curriculum and learning key skills.
Today, Caroline is teaching an art class for PPA cover. She has a TA in the classroom along with an artist who has been brought in to give specialist tuition. Sarah is observing.
And also you could, if you're feeling daring, put in some shadows. Okay, you've done shadowing before. Have a go, Jack. Have a go. Just very quickly, I'll show you what Mr. Paterson's just brought in to show you. An example of what you could do. All right? All right.
While Caroline enjoys teaching whole classes, she says it can be challenging.
I think, like most people, it's the management side of the class, especially if you maybe have 1 or 2 children who challenge you behaviourally, and that was one of the issues for me. I've approached a lot of teachers, and I've spoken to a lot of teachers and said, look, well, how would I deal with this? What should I do? And I've picked up strategies from them and from the foundation degree training I've had. It's been really helpful.
So you've got to think about a design of the sunglass for a sports personality, or I say a florist. A florist is somebody who has flowers, so you can have flowers all around your glasses.
I find that children really respond to praise if it's constructive. They're not fooled if you're saying, oh, that's lovely, and it's not. They're not fooled, but they would want to do the best for you. And if you can really connect with them in that sense as well, that often controls behaviour because they want to please you, they want to do the work for you. I felt the children achieved their objectives. I felt they're on task mainly. I was a little again disappointed in my own delivery. I could have done better, but overall I was quite pleased.
And what were your biggest challenges for the afternoon?
My fear was they were going to finish too early, but I approached several teachers in the class beforehand in the school, and they all gave me ideas for things like adding shadows, having them draw background, so that I knew then I could extend them. So that was the one fear I had, so I was quite pleased that I was given support there.
And the work that Caroline and other TAs have been doing with the children is well appreciated by the staff and head teacher, who is keen to use the talents that are available.
We make sure that the work that they do in the class is something, one, that they're comfortable with, and two, is something that they've seen as a strength in their practice in the first place. So they've brought a higher degree of art, and what we're seeing now is a real progression through the art skills that wasn't as apparent before, but it certainly is now, and we're very pleased with that.
And on hand to discuss the challenges of teaching a whole class is Porthleven's Deputy Head, Richard Lawrence.
You've already started doing a lot of work with the groups, and you're doing some pretty major stuff in the PPA with the children in the afternoon with the whole class. How are the strategies going in terms of dealing with those children on a larger group numbers?
I find it a very useful strategy is when I'm in the classroom in the morning, I tend to fade into the background, be rather discreet about where I am, and the teacher is the obvious person in command. Whereas in the afternoon, where I'm in control of the children, I feel that I'm in the front of the class, my voice is louder, and I make a larger presence of myself.
So you move yourself into the teaching
Yeah,
position?
into the main arena of the classroom.
Okay. And Karen, what have you done? I mean, can you sort of think of something specifically that you thought actually really works?
One strategy I really like is positive behaviour. Is where you're praising a child and then you're hoping that the child beside who maybe is misbehaving will respond to that and want the praise, so they themselves will then start behaving.
That's a lovely start. Remember to do different shades, different colours of your shading.
I know I'm going to do this.
I also like to wander. If there's a child who's behaving poorly, then if I just wander across there, instead of drawing attention to them and stand by them, then often they will improve their own behaviour because they're aware of your presence, but you're not actually singling them out, which can actually cascade them into making the behaviour worse.
But in the situations where you say, well, I want to gather everybody's attention together, I mean, what kind of strategies are you going to employ in class for that?
We use a clapping system which is similar to the football. The teacher claps a known thing and they responding exactly the same. If they don't stop and respond to him instantly, the children lose some of their time that they're allowed for choosing time at the end of the week.
And are you clear about expectations on the children's behaviour?
Yes.
And are the children clear that you have those same expectations as the class teacher?
Yeah, the consistency is there throughout the class.
Right. How do you think the children respond to you in that new role? Do you think it's different to how they respond to the class teacher?
I think initially it is.
Right.
You have to set the ground rules in a way. They have to learn to respect you in the same way they respect a teacher.
Okay.
It's quite a big transition, I found. And it's making that progression, and just they see you in a different role.
Okay.
It's hard to explain, really.
I found it over the past 2 or 3 years, or the teaching staff talked about us, not as just teaching assistants, but as other teachers in the class.
Yeah.
So the change in the management strategies of the school has helped to change the attitudes towards teaching assistants.
About the team ethic in the school and saying we are all here.
We're all to teach.
Yeah, absolutely. And the children are there to learn, and we are the teaching team.
And what have Sarah and Caroline taken from these last 2 days?
What I found really interesting about the past couple of days is the opportunity to, after 7 years of being in one school, come and visit somewhere else that is completely different, although we've got the same sort of roles and had the same route of training. How do you feel about
Exactly the same. It was quite an eye-opener. I've only spent time in one school for 10, 11 years. And to go and see your class was really helpful because you see different things that you haven't seen in your own school.
There are now over 10,000 HLTAs nationwide. Since the position was introduced in 2004, people like Caroline and Sarah have become an essential part of the teaching staff.
I think the benefits of PPA are absolutely undoubted. I think staff are far happier in their workload for one, and the fact that it's an HLTA and part of our team that's providing it, they have the continuity and the benefits of that. I think all staff are completely happy with that.